called back to something, and what you were brought in to call back for is not what they had you written down to be called back for.
Yes, that sounds fun. Oh, for Willy Wonka, I
got called back for a black.
After I'm done, I just go back
for a black bar bouncer.
We'll do one more and then we'll go back in.
I come back in and it's like, yeah, I'm here to read for Bruno.
Okay, 15 minutes.
You're not 6'5", 250 pounds, or black. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not.
You should see me when I'm like,
Here's my callback notice.
This has been a public service for the NFCC.
I got smart.
Students are tackling more than just their schoolwork, which is why more than 30% of them are fragile.
Had to do it in black.
But with a boost from you, 100% of them will have a better chance to make it to graduation. Go to boostup.org to find out how to give the high school students in your community the boost they need to make it through. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
This is Sarah Salzberg from Spelling Bee, and you're listening to Curtain Call with Erik Ball.
Welcome back to Curtain Call. You're listening to Erik Ball. This is Glenn Heath and Keriann Parks with me as always. We're joined with guests from Super Summer Theater and British National Theatre of America's Oliver, the musical playing out at the Super Summer Theater Ranch in Spring Mountain Valley. If you want some tickets, Glenn, how do they go about getting tickets to this?
Well, there's a couple of ways right off the top of my head. Showtix4u.com and the UNLV box office. Tickets are $12 in advance, $20 at the gate. I'm pretty sure that you guys will end up selling out at least the next 2 weekends because it is a great, like you said, great family show.
There's a tried and true at the ranch.
Yeah,
if you do a show with kids in it,
but
sell it out.
Tickets at the gate are $20, and if you get up there and they're already sold out, you've just driven at least 30 miles out of your way.
It's really easy to just get tickets ahead of time. Yep. Just get them ahead of time.
And they've got the Flex Pass available now that you can buy.
You go up to the box office and you flex your guns.
Yes.
Boom! They'll give you nothing.
But if you give them money, and I believe the Flex Pass is the same $12, but the tickets are good for any show. So you can buy Flex 10 tickets, and you can take 9 of your friends to a show, or you can go see one show yourself 10 times. Or
it's actually
go
really
see all the shows, and there are no blackout dates. What are you laughing at me for, Mike?
Go see a show by yourself 10 times.
Some of us are lonely, okay? Some of us are obsessive about orphans, okay?
I have to make an important announcement. Jennifer's Ice Cream has left the building.
Yeah, it's Ice Cream Sunday. We had ice cream bars for everyone in the studio. We were all very excited, especially our starving orphan, Sara Andreas, who is here. She plays Oliver in this musical. And we also have Troy Tinker and Mikey Phillips, along with our illustrious director, Jeynifer Tribbitt. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And when we were talking before we went into break about kind of the journey from going from rehearsal into opening night, now that you're open, how do you guys feel about, has the show grown its own legs? Are you guys off and running? Where are we at now? I know that we wanted to kind of tip our hat to the fact that a nice group of people always seems to come out for opening weekend, and we appreciate that patronage. But guys, this is a show that's, you know, just like any show out at the ranch or any show that you kind of try to compile together in less than 3 months, you know, it's always good to go out and see it. And then it's better than sitting at home. See it again, you know, go out and get there.
Go see it 10 times.
By yourself.
By yourself, not by myself, sorry.
Have you felt things have grown and kind of naturally come to fruition?
Oh yeah, I think with any show, we have a very solid foundation. We have a great show, and of course, we still I know I individually make discoveries. Everyone like, oh, that wasn't there last night, but I like.
What's been the hardest thing for you, Mikey, in this particular? What's been hard?
Show.
What's been hard?
The hardest thing is for me with this role is because she is physically abused.
Mm-hmm.
I luckily have never experienced that in my life.
Yeah.
So, that tapping into that emotion was difficult.
And how
well, that's probably a good thing. Jennifer's like, we're looking for formerly abused women.
Well, no, I'm
go to the shelters and hold auditions. It's like,
no, that's just not appropriate.
It's not appropriate. It's very effective, but not appropriate.
No.
How did you deal with Miles Coleman, him being a method actor?
Oh.
Miles, I'm kidding.
No, but
So,
seriously,
but no, I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
Miles is an imposing and can be
Have you met Miles Coleman?
From a couple of weeks ago, the way
Swirly little Miles.
the way he was talking. I'm calling him an abuser, and you're calling him Swirly. That's right. No,
he's really
because
quite nice.
No, he's very nice. But a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about him being in the character, and having seen his performance, it was commanding.
You know, that's an interesting point because we played in the rehearsal process. Normally, Fagin is a smaller, physically a smaller person compared to Bill Sykes. And so, since I'm obviously not, and I have my own orbit going around my midsection, we decided to play with that. And what we came up with in our discovery is that, yes, Nancy and Bill worked for me. I've always manipulated the kids, and I've helped to create this monster that Bill Sykes has become. And when he gets out of hand with me, I stretch myself up to my full height. Most of the time, Fagin is sort of humped over. It's kind of the way he gets people on his side. He plays on their sentiments, and when he has to get forceful, he can. But of course, if those of you know the story, Bill is completely out of control.
Right. He's a monster.
Yeah.
He needs to be portrayed as a monster. And that's why I love Bill Sykes too. It's a great character. And who doesn't like a villain? A villain's a great character. But I would argue that talk about complex. Fagin's a complex character because he too is a villain. Let's be honest here. He's a villain, but he's also very endearing. There's a kind of a nurturing and kind of weird layer to him.
And he starts to rethink his life.
Right.
And I don't want to give anything away, but there's a transformation there.
Yeah,
you know?
and I've always appreciated the fact. I remember we did this scene study for some workshop that came through when I was in college, and they used Oliver as a kind of a starting point, whatever.
And you get a C- on that one too.
Yeah, I did. It was not that good. But they had the different characters, and I think it's because we just studied it in one of the classes. They did that, and they had us each, portray the characters as animals. As different animals, and kind of swap them around and build on the characteristics of what we know in these wild animals.
So are you going to ask Fagin or Troy what if he were an animal?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Hey, theater. What
we're almost out of time.
If you were to say that you were a wild animal, what would you say your Fagin would be? Oh, don't put your headset back on.
It's like Barbara Walters.
Oh, just now seriously.
If you were a tweed, what kind of tweed
would you be? Fagin. That's my thought.
I've never considered that, but I think maybe a chimpanzee because they can be entertaining and fun, and people are attracted to them, but they can be very vicious.
So what you're saying is you throw your poo at the kids.
I throw my poo.
I told you not to give it all away.
There are some secrets. Mikey, same question. Oh, this is more.
I have no idea.
Oh, you do too.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You're lying.
You haven't seen the show.
No. Like, okay, you listen to me earnestly. Tell me what I have.
For those
You're coming up next, girl.
For those of you just tuning in, Erik Ball, who is a drama teacher, is asking.
Translates through all ages. It really does.
Okay, I'm going to explain why this is a really hard question to answer. Because as Fagin goes through a transformation, from the first time we see Nancy to the last time we see Nancy, she goes through a huge change. And so it's very hard for me to pick which animal
Mikey,
I am.
that is a beautiful answer.
I will ask a question.
Thanks, Erik.
Nancy's loyalty in the show.
Loyal. So a ferret.
Or a dog.
Ferrets are pretty loyal. What is the most loyal animal? Dogs? A dog. Oh, and dogs are beaten too. Oh, you're a dog.
But you're a pretty dog.
You're a Pomeranian.
You're like a Chinese crested.
Oh, a Chinese crested.
Oh no!
Don't even know.
Fantastic. Sarah, if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
I don't know.
She's like a grasshopper, a big nervous grasshopper that climbs on actors' shoulders during the Super Summer Theater performances. There are no wrong answers.
This was not part of the process for you. I mean,
don't put it right. I'm being mean. You're being cruel now.
I have no clue.
What would you say, Jeynifer? Help her out.
Well, I mean, think about. The piece a little longer. So what is Oliver? Oliver is a fighter.
A fight. Ooh.
Resilient, yeah.
He survived.
Dungeness crab. No, I don't know. Don't they fight?
A Big Mac. What?
And he's also full of hope. He draws compassion.
A meerkat.
Brilliant. It's going to change the way I watch Lion King forever.
Lion King is nothing but a rip-off of Oliver anyway.
Scrappy.
Something
Kind of shy, kind of
scrappy, and
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
Prone to
recall
singing and dancing.
I recall in the cartoon Oliver was a cat.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, for you Disney people
Kevin.
who are just like, you want a basis for comparison, I didn't really care for that particular movie too much, quite frankly, because Billy Joel did the lead voice, and I was just like, really? That's what we're going to? Okay. But enough about that.
I think I talked about it more the last time.
If you're just now tuning in, we are being extraordinarily goofy here.
I think it's all the sugar from the ice cream
I
sundae.
think so. It's Curtain Call with Erik Ball. We have guests in the studio from the Super Summer Theatre musical and British National Theatre of America musical, Oliver. It's playing this upcoming weekend, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Next weekend, the same Wednesday through Saturday. You can get your tickets at Showtix4U, or you can go to the UNLV box office, or you can get them at the door. We recommend you get them ahead of time, though. This is a great family-friendly musical that you don't want to miss. Great songs. It's a great evening out. You go out and sit under the stars. You sit on the grass. You bring the picnic.
And you can go. You can get there as early as what, 6 o'clock.
I think if they open the gates at 6,
8-ish.
So it's in the evening.
Yeah,
and
it's as soon as dusk.
Yeah, and if you've never seen a show out there, when that sun goes behind the mountains, it becomes cool and beautiful. It's just a beautiful experience, and I personally, performing on the stage in that venue is lots and lots of fun. It's very rewarding. Now, what we wanted to do here is I wanted to kind of go back in time just about a half an hour or so. And Jeynifer, I was going to ask you if you could maybe reiterate again why this particular production of Oliver is one that everyone's going to want to go and see, because we want people who are just now tuning in to get that lowdown.
Absolutely. You know, I think for me, the vocal performances and the absolutely stunning choreography by Mukhtar. That is his name.
That is awesome.
Mukhtar. It has the choreography has a very street vibe. It almost has a hip hop aesthetic, but it's but it's all these kind of natural, organic, joyful moves that children would do. So, if for absolutely no other reason, and there's 1,000 reasons, these children we decided to select. Rather than 20 kids that fill up the whole stage, there are 10 children in this show, and every single one of them is a star caliber child. They are unbelievable. Troy mentioned it earlier, and I cannot reiterate it. They are the most professional, on point, beautiful voices. Mikey's song, Sarah's song, absolutely brings the house down every night.
What's the age range? I'm just curious.
Of the children in the show,
Yeah.
I think our youngest is 9.
10.
Oh, 10 now. Josh is 10. To Gabby is 15.
15.
Oh,
10,
and
15.
shout out to Gabby, because I
Berger.
totally forgot she was in the show because she's dressed up like a boy, and I didn't see her on Wednesday. So my apologies, Gabby.
Gabby was a former student of mine. Love you, Gabby.
Who does some beautiful tumbling in the show as well. Really, really cool stuff.
When you were here a couple of weeks ago, Alexa Freeman and Sarah both sang. So you can go on YouTube and hear a little bit of what's in the show. I loved your set design.
Thank you.
I don't know how to describe it because
Meerkat-like.
Yeah, meerkat-like.
Very much like a dog.
Very much.
There's a lot of levels, and for some of it just leads off into nowhere, which I kind of like that.
Right.
The whole vision of it.
You know, one of the things we all talked about, Dave Sancourt designed our set.
I know him.
Do you? He did a magnificent job, and we just had astonishing. Stephen Mack did our lighting design that really accented everything so beautifully. We talked in the very beginning, one of our very first meetings was beautiful pictures. We want beautiful pictures. At any moment you could stare, just look up on the stage and see just this magnificent picture. And they took that to the nth degree. I mean, the first moment in the show, the first time you see the children revealed, it looks like a painting. It's really, I think, visually very, very stunning. And it didn't call for hyper-realism. We wanted everything very representational. We wanted shapes. We wanted form. And that kind of flows through with costumes and lighting and choreography.
It blends all very nicely in the levels that you play within the show as well.
Well, I was going to ask and put you guys on the spot for a second. Anyone can answer this question. What is your hope with this show? What is your hope that the audiences take away from this show? Because you know something, it's kind of like
as a person, what is your hope? Not as an animal.
All right, we're grounded now. Because I'm sure you had a vision. I mean, that taboo.
Absolutely.
You know, but what is your because. Here's the thing, a lot of people go to see shows for different reasons. I mean, one might argue that you just want to have a good time. Somebody wants to kind of disappear from reality and go into an alternative reality if you want to go that deep. Others are there because they want to critique it. There's lots of reasons to go to theater. But what is your hope across the board for any audience member that is maybe on the fence about it?
I want people to leave there thinking Troy Tinker was phenomenal.
So Troy is the stereotypical selfish actor.
Actually, I think if you can provide 2 hours of family entertainment in this day and age in a beautiful setting like that, our work is done.
Yeah,
because it's a fun show to do. It's a fun show to watch, and you're outdoors in nature. The stars are gorgeous out there, and I think hopefully maybe children who see that will also have sparked in them a desire to do a show or to perform.
That's true. Can I ask you, Sarah, what is your favorite part of the musical? There's got to be lots of fun parts, but what is your favorite part?
Favorite part, like my favorite scene?
Scene, song, anything like that.
Probably the song. I do anything because it's really fun.
That is a fun moment. And that's right when Oliver gets introduced to his new pickpocketing family, and we meet Nancy and Bet for the first time, and they kind of
happy, and that doesn't happen a lot.
Yay! Happiness is good.
That's her favorite part.
Oh, she's the method actor of the group. Oh, we find out.
Yeah, Mikey's been smiling the whole
Right.
time.
She's just the most cheerful woman in the world.
I can't help it.
Now, what about you, Mikey? What do you hope? Because this can be a personal question, too. I know as a performer, I try to challenge myself with every role I do, big or small, whatever it is, What is your hope?
My hope for members of the audience is that they're moved in some way. That could be anything. I don't want people to just watch and go, oh, okay, that was fun. I want them to. I want to evoke some kind of emotion at some point during the show. And I to be honest, I don't think it's me that does it. I think it's the kids.
Right.
Don't
discount yourself.
Well, and can I say something that's very, very interesting, and actually, probably a more thoughtful answer than I could ever come up with. Because if you think about it, let's take any movie that you go see. You never really go to a movie all by yourself unless you're really lonely. And then when you go, Glenn does. But when you go to the movie,
I'm lonely.
You go to the movie with at least a modicum of an expectation, whatever that is. And then after the movie, that walk back to the car, wherever you're going to go to next, that conversation, that kind of stimulated conversation about whether you loved it or hated it or you agreed with this, you didn't agree with it, that's what it's all about, really.
I agree with you, and Jennifer's going to speak as well to this. No, because I think a combination between what you and Mikey said. I want there to be an emotional response as well, but beyond that, I want there to be discussion afterwards.
Yeah,
I could care less if they remember the play or the musical at all. I want there to be the discussion of the overarching themes or
And I would argue
the personal connection, and have there be a dialogue between.
There's always going to be
real theater after the theater.
There's always going to be somebody who agrees and disagrees with something on stage. There's
going
to be conflicting notions of what was supposed to happen versus what did happen. There's going to be people who like it, and there's going to be people who hate it. But let me tell you something. That goes true for any production you will see. And I'm going to tell you, having been not a person who's seen this particular production yet, I'm going to the closing weekend. But having somebody who has seen this production many, many times and I love this show. It is worth your time and energy to go out to that ranch and see this production. Not just because of the venue, not just because of the people who are in it, but a culmination of everything, including the fact that it's a terrific story. Yeah. So if you haven't been out to the ranch to go see Oliver, I'm going to highly recommend you do. You get your tickets at showtixforyou.com, or you can go to the UNLV box office. They're $12 if you get them in advance, $20 at the door. But again, we highly encourage you to get it in advance and make an evening out of it and really enjoy yourself. It's going to be lots of fun. Now, Jeynifer.
Oh, well, I think Jeynifer wanted to chime in as well real quickly with regards to what you hope to get out of it. I'm sure you've already achieved what you wanted to get out of it because the show is up. It's enjoyable.
Sure. I'm off to Aruba. Goodbye, guys.
Yes, that's all. Good night. I think Mikey could not, get out of my head. She could not have stated that more eloquently. Awesome. I really love, in the depths of my belly, that our production is causing conversation.
Awesome.
I would much rather you take an opinion and have a point of view. Mediocrity is never something we strive for. And our production is doing that. It's causing conversation. It's causing thinking. It's causing going back to the original text. It's causing this forward movement, which I think is at the basis of what the community of theater is intended to do. It's intended to spark creativity and spark thought and spark opinion and spark conversation.
That's great.
And I absolutely believe that our production has done that in all the different aspects that you had mentioned previously.
Yeah, I'm actually tempted to go back and reread Oliver Twist because I don't think I've read it since I was in my teens.
The production numbers are amazing.
I don't recall any music in the original, but
there are these things called books nowadays. Dear Lord.
I'm interested in reading
app on your iPhone.
All of it twist app.
Well, I'm interested in reading Eric's term
paper
too.
Can I have some more? Please, sir, can I have some more?
It's just a soundboard.
We ought to take clips from this and just make little.
We should make a soundboard.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. It's Oliver. It's a great family-friendly musical out at Super Summer Theater out at Spring Mountain Valley Ranch. You only have 2 more weekends to check this out, folks. It's Wednesday through Saturday, this weekend and the following weekend. And you need to go out and check it out. We've been talking with Jeynifer, Sarah, Troy, and Mikey. They're all cast members and the director of the production. And we're going to be talking about other theater, and if you want to stick around, you're welcome to stick around. But otherwise, you'll get a chance to see them when you head out to the ranch. And guys, I wish you a million broken legs, and I hope everything goes brilliantly, and it's been a pleasure having you in the studio. Thanks for coming.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to take another quick break here, and we're going to come back with a little bit more Curtain Call with Erik. Hang in there.
Matthew Scott, every time I go on Facebook and it suggests people I should friend, you're there.
Me?
Yeah.
What about her teacher?
So I'll be a friend.
I would love it, yes.
Guys, and you guys are welcome to stick around if you want.
It was a show.
I want to get a picture of you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I will share your comment on the set to David.
Which one?
About our set. Because David that designed Trailer Park, that's my domestic work.
He did Trailer Park? I saw that last night.
What do you call? I'm not doing anything. I'm down to ranch house for a little while.
That's an open invitation.
I'm
very glad to see you again. Best wishes with the show.
I'm going to send you a Facebook.
We should be friends.
I think Trailer Park is a show that could be on the Strip. That's what I told Troy last night.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, a 9-iron, the net. You even taught him how to hit the open man. How much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Teach early.
All violence against women is wrong. Endofuse.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council, Family Violence Prevention Fund, and the Wait Institute.
In Las Vegas, call Safe Nest, a crisis hotline at 4981.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Okay, here's the thing about yellow snow. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Learn how to drive, you moron!
Remember, you're always teaching. Teach carefully. React with rage, and kids will learn it's okay to do the same. Keep your cool, and kids will do likewise. For advice, visit actagainstviolence.org. Brought to you by MetLife Foundation, National Association for the Education of Young Children, and the Ad Council.
Ah, another hot day. I'd love to take the family out of town, but gas prices are sky high.
The kids are out of school, and Granny's here.
Stay. Just woke up.
The new Mr. Vegas. 10 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Never know who's gonna stop by. Vegas like it used to be. George Wallace, the I Ain't Thinking Show. You haven't seen Las Vegas if you haven't seen George Wallace at the Flamingo. 702-733-3333.
At the White Stallion Ranch, this charming and formal ranch gives you the feeling of the Old West. You'll find 3,000 acres of wide open land at the foot of the ruggedly beautiful Tucson Mountains, adjacent to the Saguaro National Park. Here, ranch hospitality is blended perfectly with the comforts of a top resort. Guest rooms are spacious and charming, decorated in a regional southwestern style, and some suites have fireplaces and jacuzzis. That's the White Stallion Ranch in Tucson, Arizona. For more information, give them a call at 888-977-2624 or online at wsranch.com.
Head to the #1 comedy club in the country, Touch USA Today, the world-famous Laugh Factory at the new Tropicana, Las Vegas. From the Sunset Strip to the Las Vegas Strip, the Laugh Factory brings their amazing brand of comedy to Las Vegas. The Laugh Factory has been home to legendary comedians Tim Allen, Louis Anderson, Nick Cannon, Kathy Griffin, Sam Kinison, Ray Romano, David Wayans, and so many more. Must be 18 or older to enter. For tickets and showtimes, call 702-739-2222. That's the world-famous Laugh Factory at the new Tropicana Las Vegas Hotel.
Since 1990, Baja Fresh has been making all your Mexican favorites the way you like them. Big, fresh, and delicious. Our famous fire-grilled flavor and unique tortillas are where it all starts. Add to that freshly prepared quality meats, and you've got a menu prepared just the way you like it. Baja Fresh. Stop in today and get fired up for their nacho burrito. It's spicy. Visit BajaFresh.com or their location at 7501 Westlake Mead in Buffalo. And be bold, be fresh, be Baja.
You know what? I'm really proud to be an American. That's why I registered with Selective Service.
All right.
If you think about it, our country doesn't have much rights. One of the few duties we have as
I'm going to sit over here so we can all be
seen.
seen.
Why register?
I'll take
because if you
I'll
don't,
go here, you go
you can miss
here.
out on college loans, job training,
Somebody got
good
those.
jobs, and driver's licenses in most states. Plus, it's the law.
Yeah.
So register online at ssa.gov or go
need to get Chris back in here.
And we're not going to put in the races and not tell anybody what's in the FGA race?
It's still a pissing match between NASCAR and Bruce Smith's
That
company.
gets stuck in my head.
You know,
We went back to sports talk.
Oh, shit, we go back around again.
We went back to sports talk radio. We gotta rectify this real quick. 30 seconds. Let's just go back in, guys. That's funny.
It's a whole different language.
Now I know my ABCs.
Actually, I'll just
20 seconds.
I'm sorry?
20 seconds.
Eric, I'm going to switch to this one with the. Oh, wait, I don't have to.
Do the same. Keep it cool, and kids will do likewise. For advice, visit actagainstviolence.org. Brought to you by MetLife Foundation, National Association for the Education
Dang, I wish
of Young
Mikey had
Children,
stayed.
and
I'm
the
so
Ad
curious
Council.
about her playing a victim.
Hi, this is Heidi Wilkenstaff from Title of Show. You're listening to Curtain Call with Eric Ball.
Playbills and monkeys and playbills and monkeys and playbills and monkeys. I love Title of Show. I love Title of Show.
I've not seen it.
Hang on. So we have just excused. Welcome back to Curtain Call with Eric Ball.
Is this one on?
I thought you were on your headset. Sorry.
I was on the headset. There
you go.
Yay.
Sorry about that.
No,
yeah, we just excused the cast. We just excused the cast of Super Summer Theater and British National Theatre of America's musical Oliver, and they were here. So go get your tickets at Showtix for You so that you can go see that amazing musical that's happening this weekend and the following weekend.
That's good.
It'll be lots of fun. But now that they are gone, this sounds so rude.
Now that they're gone.
Now that they're gone, we party. Now, no, but we wanted to talk because I've been gone for the last 2 weeks, and thank you, Glenn, for helming the proverbial ship here. But we've been out and about seeing lots and lots of shows, and I wanted to kind of just talk about it and talk about theater in general in Las Vegas and out and abroad.
Yeah, well, I think you had the most experience the past week because you were in New York, so you got to see what Porgy and Bess.
Porgy and Bess, Once, Warhorse, and Peter and Starcatcher.
Oh,
and
fantastic!
Yeah, and let me just start off by saying that I haven't been to New York in like 8 years. You know, it's been a long, long time. And so going back to what would be considered the Mecca of American theater, you know, the Mecca of theater in the world. Some might argue. But New York has this pulse, has this kind of heartbeat that is unlike any other place in the world. It is a go, go, go mentality, a forward momentum every step of the way. And my wife had to drag me kicking and screaming out of that city.
Yeah, I bet you thrive there.
It
Your
is.
creative juices get.
You don't understand.
What took you out there? I mean,
well, there's this Broadway Theater Teachers Conference. And I've never done it before. I keep myself so preoccupied with stuff here in Vegas that I haven't.
Oh wow, we've been reduced to stuff.
And stuff.
We're stuff.
This show
I'm
is
a
stuff.
preoccupation.
But anyways, I just have kind of back-burnered it year after year. And this year we had a change in administration over at Faith Lutheran, and we have this. Not that the others weren't, I'm making that statement now, but our current high school principal is just a brilliant advocate of the arts.
Oh, great.
And he very proactively said, you know what, you want to go to this, you need to go to this. And he made it happen. And so before I knew it, we were boarding the plane. And just being there again, the whole experience, the workshops, the people that we met, the shows that we saw, being in the middle of that city. I'm back, and I want school to begin. I have my cup spilleth over. I am so.
You've been recharged.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. And it's one thing to go see a show, especially people who love theater, whether you participate in it or you are part of the creative team around it, or if you're just a patron. To go to a show is to escape reality and to sit in the audience and be a part of somebody else's story for a while and then go away from it. We were talking about that earlier. Mm-hmm. It's very refreshing. To be able to, somebody who, I like to think that I'm very passionate about theater. I also like to think that it's probably the foundation of what I do in my life and my profession. To actually remove myself out of what I'm comfortable in my routine with and put myself in that amazing pool of what I love. Mm-hmm. It was just, I can't begin, it's hard to explain. I felt so happy. It was a very, very, very good thing.
Like you were just right in your element.
It was
you felt
so
right at
cool.
home.
It was so good, and it was so good to be back. It's so good to see Broadway. Broadway is a magical place.
I don't want any spoilers. I've never been.
Don't ruin it for Glenn.
Yeah, don't ruin New York for me. I've never been.
New York is really great.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But it is one of those situations. If you've never been, it's there's a lot going on.
Oh, sure.
You can get claustrophobic real quick if you go against the grain of the forward momentum.
Well, and some would say that of Las Vegas at points, depending on where you are in the city. Mm-hmm. You can get lost in this little town. I mean, you can walk into Caesar's Palace and get lost. But there's
finding a bathroom in that joint.
There's a different kind of energy in Vegas, and I'm sure New York has its boroughs and everything else, that the energy is different no matter where you are. So where you were, you weren't there as a sightseer, looking at the Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty,
right?
Or going to a Yankees game. I mean, you were there for the theatrical culture.
I had a mission going in.
Yeah, well, and you had a conference and got to listen to some speakers, which
that was ridiculous. Come here. Get in here. I'm going to bring... We don't have any other guests.
No.
Kelly, the intern.
Kelly!
Kelly's a senior next year. For those of you who don't know, Kelly's a senior next year at Faith Lutheran High. She's one of my students, and she's interning here because she is looking forward to making a career in theater and acting in general, film and television.
So radio is the best place to start.
You know what? Really. And so we don't have any other guests. We have a free mic, so I'm going to put her on the mic just so that she can chime in if she wants.
It's not that sweaty. Just there you go.
Yeah. So anyways, this is intern Kelly over here. Yeah, how the program, and it's I believe a partnership through Musical Theater International. It's the Broadway Theater Teachers Conference, and there's information online for you Broadway theater teachers, you theater teachers out there who have never gone. I highly recommend just checking it out. They have a structured outline of workshops that you attend, and you can take one or the other every section. You know, you have a choice. And then they pepper the schedule with guest speakers. And some of the guest speakers this year included Roger Rees, who was the director of Peter and the Starcatcher, also starred as Gomez in the Addams Family after Nathan Lane left. Yeah. And part of the Royal Shakespearean Company in London. For those old fogies who are Cheers television fans, he was Diane's... Diane's. Yeah, it's Robin.
Okay. Wow, I'm sure he's just grinding. He's listening to this on his iPhone app, and he's grinding his teeth because of all of the classical things I've done.
His canon of work.
They only know me from Cheers.
It's really funny. We met people from cast members from Newsies. Cast members from Peter and the Starcatcher, cast members from Warhorse. We met the head puppeteer and designer from Warhorse. We met Sarah Salzenberg, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing her name wrong. She was in Putnam County Spelling Bee.
I was going to say you could listen to the Stinger again.
Yeah, we've heard her.
Guests from Title of Show, guests from... all these different...
You had someone from Wicked, too, didn't you?
Yes, the current Elphaba in Wicked, Julia Murney. And they did this Candor and Ebb kind of workshop about the music and how important that particular partnership of music is. Roger Hammerstein, Stephen Sondheim, Candor and Ebb. And here's the thing, I know Candor and Ebb. Everybody who's in the musical theater knows Candor and Ebb. But I never really studied Candor and Ebb, and so it's like to have a workshop based. And David Loud was there.
I'm completely at a loss because I don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
Candor and ebb and flow. Candor.
No, they're two guys.
Candor
and Ebb. It's like Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Dang it! And Eric's sitting here saying any theater person, oh man.
I just feel so degraded.
Glenn doesn't know.
I've heard of Lerner and Lowe, Rodgers and Hammerstein, sure, Stephen Sondheim, Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yes, Eddie, Flo and Eddie. I don't know.
Ed and Eddie? What? Who are these people? No, but they performed songs from it, and it was just from their canon, and it was just like I don't know. It was just nuts because you're surrounded by people who have the same passion, but come from different backgrounds. Like there are teachers there that work in the public school system in downtown Chicago, and it's really hard,
and have very little to work with
monetarily, and
not. I don't want to say talent-wise because talent is all over the place.
We had people from schools in Germany. We had an international school teacher from Thailand. We had all these teachers, and they're all thrust together in one room and sitting shoulder to shoulder, workshopping elements from different, avenues of theater. And what I thought was the most important thing was not only just touching base on stuff that we all knew but kind of were expanding on, was more or less the interaction, the networking, kind of the talking about it. One thing that I thought was very interesting, I teach at a private school, private Lutheran school in Summerlin. And so some may say, well, they're very privileged over there. They have more Jaguars in the parking lot than they do at the zoo.
All the British people that live over in Summerlin?
Yes.
I always go British when I think hoity-toity.
I love saying Jaguar.
Jaguar. And some may say that that Faith Lutheran has more opportunities than other schools in Las Vegas. They may be right. They may be misinformed. But here's what I thought was interesting. One challenge that I have as a theater teacher at my school, I thought would be very much not like everybody else's, is I struggle with entitlement. You know, and it's not always concerted entirely. It's not people are, well, I'm owed this, so therefore you shall do this for me now, servant man, you. It's more, that's how they're used to things. It's a private school. We cater to the kind of padded walls environment that keeps them safe and nurtured while they're going through high school, so that we can prepare them.
And they're paying for it.
They're paying for it.
And so there is that, and I hate to say entitlement but there is that
expectation.
Thank you.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And then there's certain things that they expect. So it was kind of, I thought, gosh, you know, they can't have this much problem with, and it's not huge, but boy, it's throughout. It's throughout the process, throughout the going into the 1 year, out to the show, you know, whatever the situation is. And so I brought it up when we were talking about, we had this kind of roundtable opportunity to talk about different concerns and how we deal with things and practices we all have. And I brought up the fact that I don't have problems so much with an appreciation for theater or people that really, really, you know, I have a hard time getting people to audition. I can't say I have that problem. We have a lot of kids who really love theater and are really talented and really will work hard for it. But my biggest problem was entitlement. And when I said that, everybody went, oh my gosh, me too. Me too. Are you kidding me? And I thought it was interesting that it's more of a generational mentality. And it has to do with everything from the convenience of having your iPhone and every answer to any question you could possibly have at your fingertips at any moment.
That's intoxicating. I just got an iPhone this week, and so I know how that feels, that overwhelming, oh my goodness, I am never going to get lost again.
Yeah, it's true though, but if you have a student...
They don't know that.
I'm going to use me as an example. Growing up, I didn't have cell phones. Okay, there were no cell phones yet.
I didn't have shoes.
We wrote on the back of shovels with coal.
I had to walk uphill both ways.
But it was like a different mentality. You know, it was like when I needed something, I had to either seek it out and find it physically, or I had to ask permission for it.
Oh yeah. Well, what was our Google? Our Google then was the library.
The encyclopedia.
Encyclopedias,
if you had an encyclopedia at your fingertips.
You didn't even have shoes, so you didn't have an encyclopedia.
Well, it was a piece of stone with pictographs.
Oh, okay. Hieroglyphs.
Mesopotamia.
We hadn't invented hieroglyphs. They were pictograms.
Well, it was so fascinating to me that everybody said, you know, and there were teachers, very few teachers that were younger than I was. Well, I don't want to say that sounded weird, but like there were young teachers. But I would say that the generational gap certainly started with my age. Really? You know, the minority was younger than my wife and my age. And was an older generation, and it was so fascinating that they were just saying, that's so my problem too. And this was from a teacher from Iowa that has a school that has 10 drama kids that do the same, 10 drama kids that they've seen go through the rank. And I'm just going, wow, you know, they pick shows based on these 10 kids because that's all they have. And it's like, they did, what did they do? Maine with 10 kids. 10.
I'm glad they didn't do 7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
That would have been difficult.
Well, in thinking about it, and you are very blessed in your job.
Yeah, I will say that.
And I don't think you're one to not recognize that. But it's interesting that you bring that up, simply because drama teachers, I think, are a unique breed. Same with music, choir, orchestra, band.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important to you that even if you are in the most economically deprived area, you're still going to do art. You're still going to put forward everything you have, and the kids that are involved in it are going to put everything they have. Whether you are painting on a cardboard set, or whether you have a financial backer whose name is on the front of the school and has nothing but endowments of money to give. And I'm sure it's all ranges, but it's interesting that you bring up, you know, because my daughter is in that new generation.
Yeah. And well, Kelly, you're a part of that generation.
Yeah, and it's not just in drama. Like, it's just in high school.
It's across the board. Yeah. And that's kind of what woke me up to that, because I was sitting there going, oh my gosh, entitlement. And everybody was like, yeah, everybody. And
so what you're saying is, and Kelly's saying the same thing, is it expands just outside of your drama niche.
And it's not like, oh, you shouldn't be that way. It's all they know.
Well, and I feel really lucky because of my parents, because they've really raised me in a way where neither me nor my brother have really been like that. Like, if we want something, we have to work for it. I mean, I don't have an iPhone yet, and we can...
There are exceptions to the rule, but the mindset, I would say...
is that you should have one.
Yeah.
You need
to get one.
I need one because I can't live without one.
Right.
I didn't have my first cell phone until I was probably 28.
But I'm going to tell you something, Glenn. If I dropped my phone in the toilet tonight, I would be the first in line tomorrow at the AT&T store.
I challenge you to go a few days without it.
You couldn't go back to life before a smartphone?
Can I tell you something? It'd be very hard.
Yeah.
It'd be very... my wife challenges me to not get on Facebook.
It would actually be fairly freeing because when I got my first smartphone, I had a stress level of, oh my god, I have all these things I have to. Now, all of a sudden, I gotta keep my Twitter feed going, I've gotta make sure that my status is constantly updated.
You felt that way?
Yes, I felt that way, but I did not do it because I work in IT as a regular job. I avoided a smartphone for a good 10 years. And it wasn't until it was at the point, it's like everyone has a microwave now.
Yeah.
At some point, you're just like, I can cook this food just fine on the stove. Everyone has them, and you're just like, okay, heating up that cup of coffee.
The first microwave that came out was like $750.
Yeah.
And now it's you can pick one up for $39.
Well, there's that cost.
Like,
there's the cost as well, and it wasn't an issue of the cost on the phone. It's just like, do I really need it?
Yeah.
No, I don't really need it. But you become, I don't want to say out of the loop.
No, it is. That is exactly what it is. Out of the loop.
There is that sort of.
Yeah.
It's like not being able to. It's not having a car to drive.
It's the norm.
I know for me, every single one of my friends has an iPhone, except for me. I'm the only one, and they all make fun of me all the time. I don't really care that much, but because
hello, cavewoman.
Well, I feel like I don't need one. There's no necessity to having one.
And what's funny is that now that Keriann has hers, would you say that you're fascinated with all that you can do?
Yes.
See,
I
and
am
that's
obsessed
the thing.
with it right now.
It does not define you. You didn't need all those things before.
She didn't know she needed it until she got it.
Oh, you sound like you should be working for one of these.
But anyways, if you're just not joining us, this is Curtain Call with Erik Ball. We're sitting here talking about theater in general. I had an opportunity to go to New York and attend this Broadway Theater Teachers Conference. Saw many shows. Glenn has seen many shows in the city here. Keriann is weighing in on her perspective as far as theater goers in general and what they should be doing this summer. Absolutely. And intern Kelly is here because we have a free headset, and I